Recording from the USP headquarters in Miami, Florida, this is the University Sports Podcast, third episode. Since 1994, USP has helped over 1,700 student athletes to secure their future, and now we want to help you, sharing great stories, tips, and guidelines that will definitely boost your recruiting. For more information about USP, please visit our website, universitysports.com, or follow us on Instagram and Facebook at University Sports, and you can find us on YouTube as well. I am Carlos Zonate, and here with me is Oscar Miranda, Head Advisor at USP. Oscar, how are you, man?
I'm so happy to be here. I was feeling a little bit left out when you guys haven't called me in for one of these podcasts. I've been following the last couple that you guys have done, and extremely happy to be here. Exciting. Mm-hmm. First podcast I ever do, so hopefully this is something that we can repeat in the future.
You are definitely a super important part of USP, and you're always here when we're recording. Our first two episodes, I was with Thomas, and you were sitting right next to us.
In the background.
Yeah, and you heard everything, so you are part of this podcast, even if you were on camera on the microphone before or not. So before we start with everything we have prepared for today, I think we need to talk about something that is going on, and everyone is very aware of it, and we are no experts, and I don't want to sound like I know anything about this at all, but it's something that is affecting us and everybody else. So coronavirus, and I think it's important to talk about it. There are a couple of things that we can explore, because crises like this will happen again. Different things will happen. Maybe it's not a virus; it will be something else. But it's affecting every single aspect of our lives, and college is not an exception. We are seeing many universities in the state of Washington, the state of Florida, and other states that are advising their students not to come and not to go to classes in person. Sports are being affected.
Correct.
In Europe, you have many soccer leagues that are stopping. The Olympics are in a big question mark right now. And NBA just suspended the season yesterday. So, and then college sports, of course, it's a mixture.
The thing is going to get affected. I mean, you just had the Ivy League tennis just stop the matches.
No, Ivy League suspended all sports.
Suspended all sports,
yes.
So not just tennis.
Ivy League suspended all sports. And
it is a shame, but I mean, I think there's something that goes beyond the sport itself. It's just you need to be secure. I think they're doing the right thing just by containing it of the way it is right now. Hopefully, it doesn't go any further. But definitely we need to take the precautions and be proactive to make sure that it doesn't go any further like it has gone at any other places that is affecting the virus.
Yeah, and very, very interesting what's going on with basketball specifically. We're in the prime time of basketball in the USA.
You got March Madness and now the NBA that just stopped all activities. Thing is, it's the right thing to do. It goes beyond the sport, and it's affecting just a little bit in that we're not going to be able to watch the sports that we enjoy, but it goes beyond all of that. I think it's the right thing to do to contain it the way it is right now.
Right, it's bigger than basketball. For those who don't know, in March you play, the NCAA plays basically the playoffs of college basketball, and it's called March Madness. It's probably the biggest sporting event when you count all the matches that are played and all the people who watch us on TV, and they have decided to play these matches with no public, with nobody on the stands. That is unprecedented. I don't think this will probably the first time this happens. Yeah. And but in the other hand, NBA suspended the season. So two different approaches to the same problem. Let's see what happens. It's going to be very, very strange for sure. Now, other areas of the college athletics and the college recruiting in general are being affected. The SAT test that is supposed to happen this Saturday.
This Saturday, correct.
Is being suspended in many locations.
Correct.
Worldwide and in the United States, of course. And I just talked to somebody yesterday in Italy. I was talking to a student in Italy and asking him, hey, have you taken the SAT? And he said, well, I was taking it this Saturday.
Exactly.
It's all suspended. So he's late in his recruiting, and now what's going to happen?
I mean, that's one of the... This is an extreme, but we always tell our students, if you have a chance to take the SAT, do not delay it. That first of all, you don't have a guarantee that you're gonna do better. because of waiting more. And some students did not take the SAT in December or November because they felt like they were more prepared now for March. And what's going to happen? They're going to have to wait until May and take the exam. And hopefully that's not the case, but it may be a little bit late for them to get admitted into a school by the time they take that exam in May. So unfortunately, it's going to definitely affect a lot of students. I just talked to a student from Peru, and they were just waiting for the exam, and
they don't know.
They don't know. They had two schools that were offering the exam. One of them already canceled. They're just waiting to hear back whether or not the other location is going to cancel the SAT. But it's highly likely that's going to happen. They need to contain this. They're taking the precautions, but definitely it's going to affect the SAT. Unfortunately, you're going to have to wait until May if the SAT happens to be canceled where you're taking the exam.
Right, most likely, unless the college board announces that they're going to make an exception. So
correct.
It's very unlikely, but it's unknown. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen. So sometimes this type of events, this type of crisis, sometimes it's a personal thing, something that happens to you. Sometimes it's a worldwide occurrence like this one. Change the perspective of how you think, how you see things, and how you approach things. But don't wait for something like this to happen to make the right decisions. So plan ahead, and if you are a junior, sophomore, and you're preparing for those tests, or you're not, start doing it and make sure that you take every precaution and do everything ahead as much as possible. I mean, start the recruiting process early, prepare for those tests early, take those tests early, do your applications online, talk to the coaches, go to the NCAA. Every single step, we have the 9 steps, and we're going to cover those steps. Every step can start as early as a freshman. Yeah, you can start as early as a freshman in high school.
So education and planning. It's as important as the actual recruiting.
Exactly.
If planning, this SAT issue could be avoided if the student prepared before. We agree that even as early as a rising junior, you could take the SAT. Or the ACT for that matter. That's all another thing. Like, you don't have to put all your hopes on just one exam.
Right.
The ACT could have been taken if you did not make the SAT for December, perhaps because you were not prepared. Why not take the ACT that was offered in the first couple months of the year?
Right, in February. And to be able to do that, you need time.
Exactly.
So you need to start ahead.
Planning is the key word in all of this. Planning and education. The more educated, you're not gonna. I mean, education is as important as a tool for everything, not just for this. So educating and planning is gonna be key for your recruiting in the future.
Oscar, let me ask you. I know we're kind of blind in this situation. This is all new, and we didn't have a chance to talk to many coaches yet. But in the recruiting part, regardless of what we just talk about, the academics and everything else, the recruiting part, what coaches are doing. How do you think this will affect that process? Do you think there is anything different now?
I mean, just think about the student that I was talking to this morning, and if they're hearing me, they're gonna see that we're talking about them. They were supposed to do the visits next week to the schools. Everything was set up. They were visiting 4 schools, and I actually recommended them, hey, I don't think you should go for the visits. Because first of all, we don't even know if they're going to allow you to come to the U.S. And even if you do that, it's not going to be a pleasant experience because the schools are closed. So you're not going to get as much from the visit. So it's likely that they're going to have to make a decision without visiting. Or second, if they wait until all of this passes and the schools goes back to normal, it may be too late to make a decision. So it is affecting the students that way. Also, recruiting-wise, the coaches, if the season is sort of over or they finish them dual matches, they're gonna get more aggressive, and they're gonna have to use all this time for recruiting, and it's likely that things will go a bit faster than it will be as usual.
Right. So coaches have more time now.
Correct. You're gonna have more time for recruiting, or they may not be able to communicate with you because they're in quarantine. They're not paying attention. They're paying attention to things that are more important, like health. All those stuff. It's definitely going to affect recruiting for the next couple months.
Yeah, especially for those sports that are very international, because college coaches will not be traveling.
Exactly.
Abroad, and even locally, they will be traveling very little. So, okay, well, good stuff. We send our best wishes to everybody who's listening, and stay safe. Make sure that you take all the necessary precautions and do whatever you should do, and be responsible not only for you but for the others around you. We just had a meeting with Thomas here in the office, and he said exactly that. You need to be responsible, because it's not only about your health, it's about the health of the people that are around you. So, and this applies to everything in life. So be responsible and stay safe, and best wishes for everyone, especially our friends in Europe, in Italy. We have many friends in Italy and other places that are being affected. So our greetings and best wishes. Okay, so let's get on to this. Oscar, as I mentioned before, you are not only the head advisor, but you are also the one, you're the staff member that has more time with USP among us, right? You have been here the longest.
It's been 5 years and a half. It's going to be 6 years.
6 years, yeah. So you have a lot of experience, tons of experience with international athletes and local kids and different sports, but mainly tennis.
Correct.
Right? And you are now the head advisor, which means you not only work with your own students, you also oversee the activities of other agents, other advisors that are working with other students. So you have a ton of responsibility right there. So since you have all these things going on, you're so important for us here in USP. I want everyone to know you, and I want to conduct a short interview here so that everyone gets to know you a little bit better. So tell us a little bit about you. Where are you from? Where did you grow up? Tell us about your background.
Okay, so I was born in Cuba. This, for whoever doesn't know where it is, that's a small island in the Caribbean.
I think everybody.
You never know
what Cuba is.
Okay, I came to the U.S. when I was 19 years old. Before that, I studied my high school, and I did a 1 year.
What age did you come here?
I was 19 years old.
19, okay.
So I did. I did a lot of things when I'm back home in Cuba. I did a 1 year military service. I did my high school education. I did 1 year of the university before coming here. Sports has been my life since I was a little kid. I wasn't genetically gifted, so I realized since an early age I tried a lot of sports. I tried basketball, baseball. I tried judo, combat sports. And definitely, that was not my thing. I wasn't rising to the top. So I realized, do the next best, thing, which was stay involved in sports. And I wanted to be a sports journalist. And I was studying for that. I was working in online blogs since I was a little kid. My passion is baseball. And I'm very good at math. So it was a good combination. The fact that at that time, in the early 2000s, he was rising all the statistics, and people were going crazy about that. And when I found out that I was able to read the box scores from books, I became crazy about it. And I came to hear that when I was 19 years old, I was working part-time in other areas. I graduated from college. I first did 2 years of junior college. When I talk to my clients, I explain to them that I did the things that you're not supposed to do, which is that I changed my major so many times. It took me almost 8 years to graduate, because I went from journalist to economics to accounting, and I have a dual major in economics and accounting. And then I found an ad online that are looking for somebody to help in a sports company. I just felt like this is it for me.
Okay. You're spitting a little bit. You're going through the entire interview in one sentence, but okay. So where did you go to school, college-wise?
So I graduated my associate's degree from Miami-Dade College. Then I transferred to Florida International here in Miami, and I have my second degree from Florida National University, which is accounting.
Cool. So you basically know the main schools in the Miami area.
Correct.
Except for maybe the University of Miami.
I was accepted, but I couldn't afford it.
Oh yeah, well that's part
of the process.
That's part of the process, and I think you have a very good experience. Would you recommend any student athletes or students in general to go to community college, junior college first. Is that something that affected your end result? Do you think was a good idea? What do you think about that?
I mean, not at all. I think it's highly recommendable. I always tell them there is a reason why a student goes to community college. It may be because of money, because it's extremely affordable compared to a four-year school. Because of you're not used to the system, you want to get a little bit into it, and that was the case for me. Those two options. Adding the fact that if you're a student athlete and you don't have that many results and you want to create a resume that's proven for a coach, junior college is a perfect pathway for you to do those first 2 years, have proven results, and then transfer out to a university. In our experience, when we deal with coaches and we show them, hey, you have this kid that's an incoming freshman. He's a junior. We don't even know how he's gonna develop in college, or how he's gonna react to having to do everything by himself. And then you have this kid that's just graduated from junior college. He has proven results. You know, this is a kid that's mature, that he's able to handle it. It's likely they're gonna go with the junior transfer. This is a kid that's more mature. It's you know what you're getting with them. There's not that much. There may not be that much of an upside, but definitely there's not that much of a gamble. You know what you're getting with that kid. So definitely.
And let me correct you. Not even a kid, because now he's already a 2-year.
Exactly. It's likely that they're already over 20, 21 years old.
Right.
So you know what you're getting, and that's definitely beneficial. But again, you do not choose junior college. Junior college chooses you. I think that's the right way to do it. Even any other area, Division 1 or Division 2, you don't force you upon those schools. If you're not doing well academically and you need that extra year or 2 years of education, definitely junior college may be a choice for you. You cannot force yourself upon Division 1 if you're not scoring well in the SAT or TOEFL.
Junior college has this sort of stigma that we always fight against. I mean, not every junior college is the same. Miami-Dade is a great example of a terrific, very, very good school. But definitely you need to consider all options and see which are the options that fit you. I think you said it perfectly. So, yeah, definitely. So good advice, Oscar. So, who would you say have been your strongest influences in life? I mean, who do you look up to, and who do you think is been influencing you? Maybe since you were little, or maybe now that you're a little bit older. Who would you refer to? I
mean, it's a little bit cliche, but I think Thomas is, since I started working here, is the biggest influence. I mean, the fact that he has grown. It's so difficult for you to transmit, because USP is Thomas' dream. This is what he conceived, and the fact that he's so passionate about it and he's able to transmit that to us, that's such a difficult thing. This is not a job. This is our life. It has gotten to a point that, and what I love about this is the stress that it causes me, which is, I think stress up to a point is a good thing. That means that you care. And I feel like I get stressful.
Yeah, you definitely care, Oscar.
I really care. There you go. So that sort of thing that he has imparted into us, that I think that's definitely a role model. The fact that he has shown us that we have to love what we do for a living, because we're not dealing with numbers, we're not dealing with a shoes or anything. We're dealing with kids' life in here and their future, and definitely that's something that I have grown a lot. I can't even imagine the kid the person that I am right now, 6 years ago, who I was, and definitely I think 100% that's because of Thomas, how he has impacted my life beyond just the workplace.
Yeah, I agree, and same happens to me. Thomas is somebody that has been very important in our lives, and we know we both know it. And I always tell anybody who's planning on doing the recruiting or considering working with USP and with Thomas and the team, how different this approach is from other places. I mean, he truly cares about your future, and he has imprinted that on us, and we worry about your future enough to go one-on-one and
go beyond. I mean,
that extra mile.
Now that I'm dealing, I remember that when I started in the company, Thomas used to do with me what I'd have to do now with our agents, which was sort of supervise and at the same time guide you to the right way.
Mentor them.
Exactly, mentoring. And now that I'm feeling like I have to take the place of Thomas with some of our agents, is definitely look at the schools that you're suggesting and just put yourself in the place of the kid. Is he gonna be happy at that school? It's not just about scholarship. It's not just about
it's not about placing.
It's not about placing. It's making sure that this person is gonna be successful at that school. And I think that's something that passion shouldn't. The day that I don't feel like I have that passion is the day I don't feel like I can do my job.
Well, you already responded this a little bit. You tell us a little bit about how you get here, but how expand a little bit on that. How did you end up here? What led you to this career? What are the things that you think, build this path until you get to USP?
I think being involved with sports was the main thing. First, my knowledge of the college system, of sports besides the big ones like football, baseball, or basketball was almost zero. I think that was a good thing in the sense that when I started here, I came out with a clean slate. Like I was like a sponge. I wanted to get as much information as possible. Like to be honest, my knowledge of tennis was zero. Like I was lucky enough that I had Thomas, which is a sort of like an encyclopedia of tennis knowledge. And I've never been afraid. That's something that I think is beneficial for me, is the fact that I've never been afraid to ask questions. And to guide myself, even with coaches, when I would call them, hey, explain to me, what do you think about this player? What sort of potential do they have? And again, I had a lot of people that have helped me a lot, starting for Thomas, with you. You have helped me go beyond the mechanism of how to do the things the way it's supposed to be in the business, because you have more experience in the business world. But I think my trip and how I got to this way is, I remember that I told Thomas, I can get you about 50 baseball players every year. And to this point, I think I only worked with like 5 or 6. And I had to learn a lot about tennis. I remember that I still have, I think, a chip on my shoulder, in the sense that since I did not come from a tennis background, I had to overcome that in an easy way, which was I had to watch a lot of tennis, and I still watch a lot of tennis every day. If a regular person, basically, I think you need to have about 1,000 hours. No, 10,000. 10,000 hours of something to truly master it.
To consider yourself
an expert. And I don't think I got into that point, but I definitely on the way of the 10,000 hours.
You're in the right way, yeah.
I mean, it's funny because I now get phone calls from coaches telling me, hey, what do you think about this kid? Do you think this is somebody that could play on my team? Which to me is mind-blowing that I get to that point. Or even now when we organize our showcases, that I'm the person that the company's trusting for me to organize the event itself. Like how many matches do we had in the last showcase?
To assess the level of these players.
That's just mind-blowing to me when I think, hey, look where I am right now. And that the company trusted me to do that, and I guess I've done it up to this point.
Let's see, Oscar. I don't know.
Let's see for now how it goes.
Okay, how many student athletes would you say you have been working with in this 6 years?
6 years? I don't know, like at least over 200, I think. Like 250 perhaps.
Okay. And I mean, you learn a lot from this.
Yeah, every single one is different.
I don't have as not even close to that number, and the few kids that I work with, and if you don't know, I don't specialize in tennis, so I work with all the rest of the sports that we work here, golf, soccer, swimming. I've been working with all these different backgrounds, and there aren't that many, but I have this amount of experiences, the level of knowledge that you can receive from these families, all the things that you learn from each different experience, because each family is different, each background is different, everybody's looking for something else, and you need to adapt to that. So you have all these background, all these learning experiences. What would you say is the main mistake? Let's start with the mistakes. What would you say is the main mistake you see in these kids out there doing in the recruiting process? Okay,
so I have a couple. The main one I think is the fact that you don't want to listen to the experts. that you're willing to listen to somebody else besides us that we would consider ourselves. I think we can definitely say that we're experts in this process.
It's basically the one thing that we're here for.
Exactly. So you have a company that you're hiring to sort of trust on the process, and then they're not willing to listen to your advice. That's the cases that are the toughest one, when they don't listen to your advice, and when they're not willing to go the route that you're showing them. That's the biggest mistake. And I think the other one is when they don't plan ahead. They want to go again. I think it's just when they try to go their own route, even though you're suggesting another way. That's the one where it gets the most stressing, because you are suggesting this is when you're supposed to take the SAT.
Well, they're very related.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I mean, when you're an athlete, a junior athlete, you have many people around you advising you and guiding you. You are a young person. You're a youngster. And, your parents are advising you in some things. Then your professors, your teachers, they give you other advice. If you have a college counselor in school, he's telling you other things.
Yeah, you got so many people that are around you that are just giving you.
You have your coach who's telling you other stuff, and then friends and friends' parents, and your peers have different experiences and different backgrounds, and you compare yourself. So you're getting all these different signals that sometimes are completely, separated. They go through different ways, completely, entirely. But I heard some days ago, somebody said you need to submit to the plan. You need to submit to the expert. So if you are working in any area of your life, this is not only about college sports, with somebody, I mean, if you have a proven record, okay, and you hire somebody and you're getting the advice of somebody that has a proven record, this is not, the advice of anybody.
Of course.
But if you have an advisor that has a proven record and he's telling you, listen, this is the plan that you need to go for in order to achieve this and that, then you need to submit yourself to that plan, and you do it. I mean, your coach on the court, or your baseball coach, your baseball manager, your skipper tells you this is what you need to do. You need to change your swing this way, or you need to change the angle, or move 1 inch. Whatever he says, you do it. You submit to that because you know that is the shortest path to your success.
Exactly.
So it's exactly the same way with the recruiting process, and sometimes it's hard to get, because you're getting all those signals, and maybe you're working with your coach since you were 5 years old, and now somebody that you just hired is telling you to do something a little bit different. It's hard to trust, but believe me, if you want to get recruited, and you're working with an expert, make sure it's a good advisor,
first of all,
and then submit yourself to the plan. That's a very good advice.
So I think the same reason why we do not get on court, or we get on the swimming pool, or we don't get on the field to give you advice about your sport, how you can get better in your sport, is the same thing that we try to give you, to limit ourselves to what we know, and we do not go anything beyond. And when we actually give you advice, it's not just because on that plan that we prepare for you, it's not just because we believe is the best for you. It's also because we have precedents. Like, we have seen so many players or swimmers or any sports that are similar to your case, and we know how it would go wrong. And if you're following the same path of a person that did it wrong, why would you do that instead of just trusting how to go the right way?
Every single kid that we work with, every single student provides advice
feedback,
for the next one.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So Oscar, you have been working with so many student athletes, and you have many stories. But I want you to share with us one story, one client that you will never forget, something memorable that you will never be able to forget.
Well, I want to say two. Okay. One of them is a student by the name of Marvin Overly. He was he worked with us last year, and it was a good thing in the sense that they follow our path. But at one point, it got very stressful. Their family had invested a lot of money into him coming to the U.S., training in an academy.
For Switzerland, right?
From Switzerland. He was from Switzerland. He came to the U.S. because we advised him, hey, the best path for you will be to go to the U.S. If you stay at your country, it's likely you're not going to get as much exposure. But they follow our path the right way. and it got stressful. I remember that he did a couple visits, it didn't work out, and then he does a visit to a Division I school, Siena College, and he actually calls me in at like 9 a.m., like sort of crying, but he not crying. He was like so happy, excited, emotional.
Mm-hmm.
He tells me, Oscar, they actually offered me the spot. They gave me the scholarship that's right for me. I'm gonna take the offer, and I was so happy about it because he called me about it and just to let me know. And then I found out later that I was the first phone call. They called the first. He called. Actually, it was the second phone call. The first call was the mom, Oscar. That was me, and then he called the dad. And the dad always was joking, "Hey, you were the second person after the mom."
So he called you. He called
First
you
after
first
the
than
dad,
me.
yeah, before the dad, and it was very. It made me feel like, hey, I impacted this Marvin's life, and I hope that he's having fun on his first year in college. And then the second one is we had a student from abroad also, Sofia Ayuso. I remember that they had high expectations. The family was not willing to compromise academics. It was extremely important for them. Basically, we were getting our door shut down for every school that we were targeting. And we only had one option, and I did not expect them to offer that much scholarship, and the family needed a high scholarship. And all of a sudden, I get an email from the coach, hey, this is the offer for Sofia. I think it was $65,000 a scholarship, and the school cost like $65,300. So it was almost 100% scholarship. I remember that I called the dad as soon as I got the email. Hey, we just got the offer. He started crying. She was playing a tournament. They got her out of the court. She just had to withdraw from the tournament. She started crying. The whole family's crying. I even got to a point that I'm crying. It was so amazing to know that she got the offer, and she was.
It was
she
like a climax of a
exactly,
very dramatic
like
story.
the very dramatic story, and she was able to get the full scholarship. And she's always texting me and just telling me that she's grateful and everything. But definitely, when you feel like you are impacting the student life, that's when this is the most rewarding, which is almost every day.
Well, I remember you working with both of them, and I know them both and their parents, and I could say that you were very, very committed to them, as you do with most of our kids, or all of them. But in these two cases, there is a beyond that story, that is the success they're having at school.
Yeah.
And not only we find those scholarships, not only we found those universities with them, together, because everything we do here is a team effort. But more importantly, they're doing really well.
Yeah, Sofia is a junior. Is a junior, I think. She's part of the international students committee. She's traveling. She's actually at Bucknell University, one of the best schools in the country. It was perfect for her.
She has received some honors.
She has received honors at the school. It was a tremendous experience with her, and she's definitely enjoying herself and having a good experience at college.
Marvin, if I remember well, he's a huge hockey fan.
Exactly, and
he wanted to be somewhere. He was here in Florida. He's from Switzerland, but he likes hockey, so he couldn't find any hockey. He wanted to be
closer to a hockey team. I think they're like the Buffalo Sabres. I'm not that familiar with hockey.
Well, he can go to New York.
Yeah,
he can go to Buffalo, but in any gym or in any I don't know, hockey arena.
But in the area, there
are plenty of hockey around.
Hockey fans.
So that's great, and he's doing great in school. He loves it, and the coach is happy. So great stories. Okay, so Oscar, right before the spring season, you wrote this article. The most improved 2019 NCAA Division I tennis programs. It's a very specific tennis thing. It's a very specific college tennis thing. But the analysis that you use here, this is actually the second year
that we
did this type of analysis, and you can apply this to any sport in college, or by that effect in any other league.
Any league, yeah.
But you like your numbers. You are definitely a statistics guy, and you're the numbers guy here in the office. And you went through all the Division I teams, tennis, all the Division I tennis teams, all the Division I tennis programs, men and women. And to figure out which one is the best, that we know which one won.
Yeah, it's easy to know. Even the top 50.
Who's the number one?
It's easy.
That's not what you're trying to figure out. You're trying to figure out which one improved the most.
Correct.
So, in that ladder, who went more?
The students, and also to create awareness for these programs, are doing such a good job.
Right.
It's not easy, but when you have a school like Stanford, UCLA, obviously they're still doing a good job because they have a lot of pressure. But people are praising those big time Power 5 programs. But when you see a program that's not doing as well, and then they're doing some changes, new coach, bringing new culture, I wanted to sort of highlight that, and but still keep it unbiased in the sense that let the numbers speak by themselves instead of just saying the coaches that I liked or that were a friend of ours who was doing the best. But it's definitely an unbiased list. We were using as a base something called Macy Rating. It's an online website that is created by a college professor of statistics. If I'm not mistaken, he's based out of Carson Newman in Tennessee. And he has a platform which is amazing. It ranks with their own rating, which is sort of based on probability of matches, whether or not a team is better than the other one. And then it ranks every single Division I program in the U.S. and it goes beyond that. It also ranks of Division II. It's a lot of work. I really want to start doing it also for Division II, or even incorporate it. The most improved may also be two Division I's, like one Division II, or it may be also
make it an
overall. It may be an overall list. At the same time that would make it for each division, because I think it's good that we create recognition and awareness for these programs.
Now this is only about the tennis team. I mean, nothing to do with academics.
Nothing to do. Just basically how much they improved from the 2017-18 to the 2018-19 season.
Okay.
And this was some of these teams may not be doing as well this year, but this was posted before the spring season. So around it was done with the record up until the end of last year.
Right. And these are programs that might be under the radar a little bit.
Correct.
But they deserve recognition because maybe they didn't win a title or a conference or anything, but they improved more than any other team, so they definitely deserve the recognition.
And if you look into if we're gonna go over a couple of them, if you go into the core of why, you're gonna see that there's something that happens that made that improvement into the team. And just to tell you, and you can see for the record, some of them that are done tremendously, and the one conference they got to the NCAA. But most of them are not. And I think there's only one Power 5 program.
Well, let's go through the women team, the top three. First, you have Austin Peay State University.
Correct.
Okay, what happened with them?
So Austin Peay actually they went undefeated to the whole season. They lost in the NCAA championship. They won the Ohio Valley Conference. They had a very good transfer from Kansas. And they did tremendously, 22-0 the regular season, and it was the first time that they did something that it hasn't been done in 20 years for that program. Ross Brown, he does men and women at Austin Peay. It was tremendous. They improved. The end of the season, they were ranked number 78 in the country, and this is a school that, to my lack of knowledge, I remember that I called Ross at the end of last year about one of our players.
Who's Ross?
The head coach of Ross Brown. Ross Brown.
Okay.
The head coach of Austin Peay. And I called him for one of our recruits, and he tells me, "Hey, Oscar, this player would not play in my team." And then, to my surprise, and I look at the level of the team, like this school is at top 75.
What happened here?
Yeah, there's something that I wasn't aware, and I dig deeper, and I see that they improved 116 spots. So take a look at Division I women. It's about 350, 360 programs. And they went from close to 200 to number 78 in the country because of the unbeaten season. I don't remember who they played in the NCAA, but they had
almost top 75.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Okay. Then number 2. So congratulations to Ross and
definitely
everybody.
Ross Brown and the Austin Peay
doing
program.
Tremendous job. Okay. So number 2 in the ranking of the most improved NCAA women tennis program, we have UNC Charlotte. So in 2019, they had a record of 19-7. And they went up to the 82 ranking. Correct. From the 165.
So this was one of these cases where you get a new coach and he changes the culture of the team and he's impacting. He's hungry. I actually met Anthony Davison, the head coach, last week. He was at one of the academies that we were visiting on Friday.
Cool.
And you can tell that the culture over there, they're trying to become a powerhouse in tennis at UNC Charlotte. He definitely proved that on his first year. just being a top 100 program and definitely recruiting as high a level as possible. He even told me, I'm not willing to take any player. We're setting standard for our program, definitely we to attain this top 50 program within the next couple of years. But he's very close. Number 82 after just one season, an improvement of 83 spots. It's just amazing.
And then number 3, well, congratulations also.
Yeah, of course.
To
Congrats to
UNC
him.
Charlotte. And then number 3, you have Xavier University. They went from the 142 ranking to the 70 ranking.
70
top
ranking.
70 now.
Yeah, they won 22 matches. They fell in the championship for the Big East against DePaul. But I think it was a tremendous season for them. They won 20 matches in a row. I saw that they signed a recruit this year that's highly level, top 50 recruit in the country. So definitely the improvement is going to keep going on for that program.
Right. So to complete the top 5, we have Air Force and Iowa State University. But let me ask you, does any of these teams, when a new coach comes, for example, or when they make these big jumps, what would you say is the main reason beyond the numbers? What would you say is the reason for this improvement? Is it mostly because they're cutting players and getting new players? Is it because they're recruiting better and using the experience of the previous players? What is going on in these teams that they make these big jumps?
So I think there's one school here in our top 5 which sort of exemplifies all of that, which is Iowa State University. The record of Iowa State was actually 6-12, which if you look at it, it seems like, hey, this team did not improve that much. But actually, that team got so much better. They hired a new coach, Boomer Saia. He used to be the assistant at Oklahoma. Then he was assistant at Vanderbilt. And this guy just revamped the whole team. He signs 2 girls out of Asia that are top 50 ITF. He takes one player out of the team and makes her into a ranked player, like Cancini from Venezuela, that she's beating players from Baylor, from Texas. It's just unprecedented even though they were a Power 5 program, they were at the bottom of the conference. And now, this year, they're actually doing even better. And I think it's a combination. If the coach definitely is talented as a coach, he's going to improve. He's going to get the most out of the players. Perhaps that wasn't happening before he got to the program. And also the fact that you're recruiting and you're creating a standard for your program that's a bit higher than was before with the past coach. I don't think it's taking anything from the past coach, but he's definitely somebody that exemplifies. And I think he's going to be in the list again next year. Because they were 113. I think right now they're going to be like top 50 within the end of the year.
I'm going to ask you a couple more things about this study, but let me give you the top 5 of the men programs. Coastal Carolina, ranking 92 from 170 something.
Correct.
Congratulations to them. Then you have Radford. They are from the 200s.
They were in the bottom of the top division.
They improved to the 126th ranking. University of Tennessee, Chattanooga, they are now top 139 from bottom 100s. Temple University, who are now in the top 85.
They even beat Tulane that last year, which was a tremendous win. Tulane was a perennial top 25 team.
Abilene Christian, they are now top 80 from the middle hundreds. And then you have Liberty University, who are now in the top 100, probably for the first time in a long time.
Yeah.
So you posted this article in our blog, and we posted it on social media. And what happened? What?
So we got an overwhelming, even last year, we got an overwhelming support from the coaches because they feel like, first of all, they were being acknowledged, and they say, hey, thank you for taking the time to do this, and just showing that it's not easy to go from top 200 or from being the number 200 program to being 100, even if it sounds like some students of ours that tell us, hey, that school is only ranked 75 or 80. It's just so difficult. Like, there's so many schools.
They're in the right curve. Maybe it's not in the ranking that you dream of, but you need to see beyond that and understand that team is rising.
Most of the schools that have to compete with Power 5 conference teams that have unlimited budget, and then you are doing the best with what you have. Schools like University of Tennessee, Chattanooga, with Chuck, who's a good friend of ours, that he was retired. He took that job, and he's got in the team so competitive. I remember In the past, we at one point we were getting players that were not that high level going there. Right now, he's a tremendously competitive team.
And would you say for teams like Iowa now that are in the 100 something ranking, but they will continue to build up in that ranking? Would you say they're a hot team? I mean, for any top recruit,
I mean, just think about that school itself. I just checked today; it was 46 in that ranking.
Coach Saya said, "I am proud of my group and their season. They really fought hard from the beginning of the year until the end." And he said something. Most people will call us crazy for putting a program that lost twice as many matches as it won an improved team, but most people do not know that Boomer Saya is brewing in Ames.
Yeah, that's exactly what I think. And if you look at Boomer, he looks sort of like me. You look at him and say, "Hey, this guy."
You wouldn't imagine
think
the kind of results.
Like you can tell
that.
this. I knew it. I remember that we had a student at that team who happens to be a walk-on, and I told her, and she asked me, "Hey, do you think I'm gonna have a chance to play next year?" And when they hired Boomer, I told her, "I think you should be looking for another program." Because I knew that he was gonna bring big-time players.
Talented coaches, they know how to recruit, they know how to connect with players, and make of them the best player possible.
And it's also the fact, because you never know what the situation was before. Perhaps now with the new coach, they also provide more resources for the program. Mm-hmm. That's something that we definitely are not aware of, and that we shouldn't take that for granted. But it's likely that they told, "Hey, let's become a powerhouse in our conference. Why we shouldn't be less than TCU, than Oklahoma State? Because we have all the resources. They have a big time tennis, football program, and also basketball.
And I remember after posting the article, maybe we should expand on this, because right after we post the article, some coaches call and they wrote and say, "Hey, we also improved. We improved this and
exactly,
that.
Yeah.
We also improved a lot. Please consider this." So we might need to expand that ranking a little bit.
And also go to Division 2, Division 3, NAIA, junior colleges.
And other sports. I think this is a little bit groundbreaking.
Mm-hmm.
Not everyone is talking about those teams that improve regardless of their
just getting the recognition is actually, you don't see anybody outside of perhaps their city
and
talking
players,
about them.
You guys, student athletes, you should be aware of this, and not only focusing on those that are winning the titles. The college calendar is a little bit tricky, and
it's tough for the coaches that sometimes they feel like we're pushing players towards a route, but we are so aware of all of this. Just I always tell the coaches, and do not have with Austin P was something that I completely told her, "Hey, I was unaware of the level of your team. I should have done more research." But most of the times we are aware of how good your team is. It just happens that the student may be looking for something else. Mm-hmm. But we can tell you, we're not taking for granted all you're doing and how good that your team is getting. But definitely recognition from our side. Hopefully we can do more and create more recognition and more awareness for all these teams that are doing so well.
Okay, Oscar, we need to wrap it up. So let's go through our section, the USP class of 2020. We want to congratulate 3 great student athletes from this recent class. First one is DANIELA ALFARO. DANIELA from Costa Rica. She's a swimmer, and she's going to the University of Denver.
Correct.
I met DANIELA and her family, and they work with Daniele. He was our swimmer advisor at the time, and they did a great job, and she found a tremendous
perfect
school
fit,
in Denver. I mean,
academics was important. It's just a perfect fit for her.
I agree, and she is a tremendous talent from Costa Rica. The projections for her future are incredible.
She may be an Olympic swimmer at one point.
Yes, she had a great personality, and the coach from day one, the Denver coach, she was right.
It's difficult to take the first offer that you get, but if it is the right fit,
right, that's the case,
and we're comfortable knowing that we cannot get anything better. Or that it's just the right fit.
First offer she got was Denver, and then she was thinking, should I take this step?
Correct.
Should we look for more options?
She was also thinking about how difficult it was to get in.
Right.
Yeah,
I don't have the academics
She had
yet.
questions about how she's going to do on the SAT and TOEFL.
But she did it.
Correct, but she did it.
And it's a great choice, so congratulations to her. Then we have Adriana Barney from Puerto Rico, right?
Correct.
She's going to Mount St. Mary's University. Tell us about Adriana, because she's a great story.
I mean, we met the family in Puerto Rico about 2 years ago. good connection with them. Adriana is so talented. She does so many things well, and I think her dream was to play Division One. She found this school. I love her tennis. I love the way she plays. She's one of the smartest.
She came to our showcase last
Correct.
summer.
She came at the summer showcase. We finalized everything over the summer, and she was able to find. She worked with ADRIANA, one of our agents, what I call one of our superstar agents.
Right.
And Adriana did a tremendous job. And we found this option for her.
They made a great connection.
Correct.
With the family.
With Coach Elkins, the head coach of Mount St. Mary's. He's doing a good job. He's also creating a lot of boost for that program. Adriana is such a high. She has such a high IQ for a player, and she's gonna do much better once she goes to college.
Definitely. And then from Venezuela,
Yeah,
our friend Diego Gonzalez.
it's a funny story. I talked to Diego last Friday.
Really? Well, he ended up. Let me finish real quick. He ended up in Lynn University here in Boca. You can expand on this, Oscar, but this is one of those placements that I thought, this is a great school for Diego. He's going to have such a good time. I didn't think he was going to be able to make it, and he did the effort. He took the tests, and he did it. And he's in Lynn University. A great program for him.
At first, it was tough because he's such a good player. He was ranked top 200 in the world, and he was listening to things and just going through the process as it went by. We worked with him for like almost 2 years. He wasn't obviously coming from another country. It's difficult with the language and everything.
Yeah.
He struggled a little bit with the exams, but he put the effort. He was able to pass the exams, and we got a tremendous offer from Lynn. It's a perfect fit. They have family close by. They have coaches. His coach from back home moved to the area, so he's like 20 minutes away, and that's where actually I saw him on Friday. And I was talking to him, and it's crazy to say this, but the Diego that I was working with as a couple months ago was not the same kid that I met when I saw him on Friday. You could tell he was more mature. He had all that weight lifted from the pressure of finding a school, getting that scholarship. He has almost a full scholarship at a tremendous school.
Now he's grinding.
Yeah, he's doing well. He's playing on the lineup. He's playing singles and doubles, doing well. I talked to the coach, and he's very happy with him. It was a perfect placement for him.
Coach Perez, right?
Coach Perez and Peter, who's assistant right now.
So congratulations to Coach Perez and Peter, and of course to Diego.
The main thing when we work with our clients is, do we feel this is the highest potential for him with everything that they want, everything that they were providing as a budget, the locations that they wanted? And I think these three players
are a great example of that. Yeah.
I don't think we could have done any better for Diego, for Adriana BARNEY, or Daniela ALFARO. It's just a tremendous fit for all of them.
Well, Oscar, that's our show. Thank you very much for being there. Thank you for your time, Oscar, all those great insights and input. Thank you for being part of our show.
My pleasure. Hopefully I can come back.
For more information about USP, please visit our website, universitysports.com. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at University Sports, and you can find us in YouTube as well. Feel free to send us your questions via social media or via email at contact@universitysports.com. I am Carlos Sonate, and this is USP.